Greetings and salutations, everyone. This is Jason Bitbender Brink, and I am here with the amazing team behind Project Saturn, as well as a couple people from our side. So, how you guys doing today?
Great.
Awesome.
How about you guys?
I'm doing well. I'm wearing my One Tree Planted hat because A, it's a great reminder that for every NFT purchased, a tree gets planted. And B, I haven't shaved my head in a while, and it's a little fuzzy and wreaks havoc with my green screen. So that's where I am today. What about you
Yeah.
guys? We want to do a round of intro.
Sure. Hi, I'm Saad. I'm one of the co-CEOs.
Hi, I'm Amar. I'm one of the co-CEOs of Revolving Games.
Hi, I'm Edwin, the creative director on Project Saturn.
And I'm Martin Talbot, the game director on Project Saturn.
Welcome, guys. We also have Akaka here as well. And he's going to be taking most of the questions. He promised to do a lot of talking today. So just right under the bus, Aaron. So do we want to, I believe we've published a blog to our Medium today. Is that correct, Aaron? Regarding this and regarding an upcoming node vote.
Yes, we have.
Okay, awesome. And do you have anything in any sort of introduction or anything that you guys would like to cover first, or should we jump into questions?
You know what? Why don't we just start having one of the co-CEOs or both of the co-CEOs talking about, do a little bit of a, show
Intro?
off of their an intro of their studio.
Yeah, sure. So like I said, I'm Saad. I'm one of the co-CEOs, and Amar's here with me. We're Revolving Games. We've been in so Amar and I have been in the games industry for a very long time. 14 years for me, 12 for Amar.
And yeah, RG is a AAA studio building strategy games and tech for the last 3 years. And we met these wonderful gentlemen at Gala and decided to bet big on blockchain games. And we believe it's the future. And we have some exciting announcements coming soon.
And just quickly, we're a 90 plus people global team, and we're headquartered in San Francisco. So super excited about what we're building with Gala. And I'll let Edwin and Marty share some of the details on some of the cool things that we're bringing to Gala ecosystem.
Okay, well, on our side, we're working on a game. It's an MMO4X game, and it's in space. General setting is that humanity has been beaten up in a brutal war, but scattered survivors are trying to rebuild, expand, and fight back. So a lot of civilization has been kind of damaged and lost, as well as a lot of access to resources and technology that players will try to reclaim and fight for. Old empires and alliances will try to regroup, as well as some opposition and a push for a new world order. So there will be a whole lot going on.
Wouldn't it be a new space order?
Quite possibly,
Right,
depending
right.
on the winner of what will be disclosed as a seasonal aspect of some of our games, which we'll be getting into.
Awesome. Well, is there anything that you guys would like to show, or should we jump into general questions?
I think just going a little bit over not only just our design pillars, but in terms of what the motivation and some of the lore. And I'm not going to go too much into the lore because we're obviously going to talk more about this game at Gallopers. But there's definitely an opportunity, with the little preamble that Evan gave, of the fact that this is like a empire of humanity, and you kind of get that ability to rebuild it the way that you see fit. And factionality is a huge part about this, that you get the option to role play, really, for lack of a better term, to build up your own sort of sliver of the empire and work with other people. So this is very much going to be a huge social experience that we're hoping to introduce some areas that MMO4X really hasn't seen yet before. So yeah, very excited.
I like that a lot. why did you guys decide to go with a 4X?
Well, for me, I've been in the games industry for about 15 years. Started at Zynga, also had a studio, Phoenix Age, that got acquired by Kabam, and they were a pretty big leader in strategy games. My whole career has just been heavy focus on building kind of strategy games and running live services, largely around that. My focus has been on the game and system design aspect of it, but also just got really into talking with community members in this kind of space, and also doing a fair amount of customer support tickets. So I guess just a lot of this, the 4X genre and what genre has been in my blood for a really long time. So that's why I'm just excited about this opportunity.
And my background comes almost entirely from strategy games as well. And we were looking at 4X, and why 4X? It's a great question. There's a lot of maturations happened in 4X games over the past, maybe half decade, and things that we observed when we went out and saw different things in the market, and how like social, especially on social platforms and mobile platforms, that 4X has come into in the 4X MMO space itself, has come into an entirely different beast of social integration, of scale, and all those sorts of factors that we felt that not only is this a great recipe just from as a baseline, but also that we can add our own flavor to it. And space, I mean, we all love space, most certainly. Being huge sci-fi geeks.
And as executives, we absolutely love the genre as players. If I tell the number that Saad spends on strategy games, his wife will kill him. So
Just wait until they're NFTs, then maybe she'll change her mind. Fingers crossed.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly, and that's one of the major motivations for us, because I've dropped considerable amount of capital into
Go
a
ahead.
game that
You can
Yeah,
mention a number. It's okay. She'll never see this. It's fine.
well, it's north of 20K in a very short period of time. But I've played the game for over, I would say, about 24 months now, and I've got nothing to show for it. It's just sunk cost.
Isn't
And
that
for me, it's
amazing
very
how that
important.
works?
It's unbelievable. So now I've seen the light.
And welcome aboard, man. This is I think that we all have those stories. I mean, I was playing games with my brother a couple weeks ago. We play Battlefield, and I was just looking at the sheer number of things that I've randomly purchased, and realizing that I can't do anything with that, like nothing. And it's nice to not have that, and to be able to say that, look, everything that I have in this particular game is mine. I get to do with it what I please. That's very, very powerful. And this is what I'm very glad that we are all unified on bringing to gamers.
Absolutely.
Super excited.
Well, shall we take some questions, guys? Anything else that you guys want to go into first?
No, I think
Anything you want to cover, Akaka?
Good for questions.
You know what? There's a lot of comparisons being made on the Discord and YouTube, and I think somebody's talking about. And some of these games I haven't played. So one of the one that brought up was Dawn of War style of RTS from Migiri 19. I think it'll bring it speed up the conversation if we can start comparing with other games that people already know. So how about this one? Dawn of War. I don't know if you guys played it. I haven't. So
our game will play, or Marty, you want to get this? I guess I can go a little bit. We'll play a lot more like what has been popularized in recent years in the mobile space, with just the large scale social and faction aspects of the games. It will be MMO, and not like a lot of really popular ones at the top of the charts right now, like Star Trek Fleet Command or Rise of Kingdoms. There will be a whole lot of economy building, social play. The game kind of runs 24/7. So when you go offline, you'll need people to come and back you up. So it'll be really important to make a whole lot of friends and have a whole lot of kind of that social camaraderie going on. So I would say it's a little bit more like those types of games.
Okay,
We might as
I
well
can
just
dig it.
jump right to the chase. And Paul, if you want to share the our map screenshot, much of the elements that you find within our 4X game are still going to be there. Like there's still base building, there's still resources. You'll still be basically engineering troops for conquest and setting up fleets to not only mine but attack different points of interest. But our map play is going to be a very big component of that, and we're looking to shift economy. You know, we observed a lot of things that were happening within other 4X strategy games of people's ability to turtle and you know, not necessarily participate. And we're like, well, guess what? That's not the fun of the game. So I think we want to go more in a direction where you do have somewhat of your own sort of baseline generated economy, but there's a lot more that's actually out there on the map. So we do have tile conquest, and tile conquest is a massive part of that. And if we could get the screenshot of our concept on screen, that'd be great.
I'm seeing it right now.
Nice.
It looks
Perfect.
absolutely fantastic. I love hexes. Hexes make me happy. There is something deeply satisfying. Okay, let's move on from the screenshot and let's take some questions. Awesome. Okay, so here we go. We've got some question from Deb, and she has asked this question no more than 14 times. Is there a plan to have a token or coin that is associated with the game? Go ahead.
Yeah, most definitely there will be a coin. There will be a whole lot of potential earning and ROI aspects to the game. But our game will not be designed for that. Like in, let's say, World of Warcraft back in the day, there was such a demand for World of Warcraft gold that it became a thing. There were whole companies that were built up to mine gold and sell gold and become very profitable. But all of that profit was only made possible because there were consumers of that gold. There were people that really wanted to play to win, and that gold was so scarce that the top players would be willing to pay for it. So that's kind of what our focus will be. We'll make sure that we have a very strong player base with a lot of core key drivers to play the game and also consume this possible cryptocurrency, if you will, and just make it very, very desirable. As much as people can earn it, we want people to be able to spend it and come up with some really cool stuff from it. So that'll be a lot more of our focus there.
Awesome. So couple quick questions here that other people are having. This is from Venus Warrior. And by the way, guys, 2 notes. First is that if you would like to participate in this discussion, join our Discord at galagames.chat. We are in the project-Saturn-discussion channel. So hop in. I know that this is streaming all over the place, and there's hundreds and hundreds of people who are watching and probably typing all sorts of questions on YouTube that none of us are seeing because we're not looking at YouTube. So jump in the Discord, galagames.chat. We would love to see you there. And the second thing is that as we have these conversations, specifically when we answer questions, there is always room for flex and change as development moves forward. Okay, so answers that are given in AMA formats like this, that information will potentially change. Lots of things will change as development goes on. So nothing is 100% set. Well, some stuff is 100% set, but some of it's not, because plans meet reality. That's what happens. So question from Venus Warrior. When you say the game is going to be MMO, but you have a picture of a hex-based map, what are the MMO mechanics like? Are there maps where players battle?
Yeah, I guess I can kind of take it a little bit from it. Just to even take a step back and just describe what our game is, because things get complex fast. So as we mentioned, our game will have seasons where there is early build-up and onboarding, starting with more solo play, but eventually leading to bigger social play and the climatic struggles and battles to win it all. So you Basically, the player, you start out in your own little private sector, kind of pseudo pocket dimension, if you will, in space that is dedicated for you to grow a bit and learn the ropes, like typical 4X, constructing buildings in your base, building fleets, and take over surrounding areas. Um, we really wanted to differentiate from other 4X games where if you join too late in the season, you'll even be crowded and starved out by your own friends and allies to get to the juicy resources before you. We're in space. Maps and terrain can be 3D and not just in a 2D world map like you'll see in a lot of different games. So we really want to take advantage of that and make it feel like space. You can be somewhere that no one else will ever visit at the start, but at some point in time, the game will transition, the onboarding phase will end. There will be calls or cues to, I guess, regroup and reunite with other players, whether through a series of SOS distress signals or a natural regrouping back to the center of the action where there's the richest resources. So players will leave their private areas into increasingly large shared areas, some more PvE areas at first, but some near the center of everything with all the fighting, they become a little bit more of the biggest prizes. And at that point in time, players will be regrouping in larger guilds and reuniting into larger factions. At its height, at its most competitive, the game will, I guess, regroup into what will look like potentially a giant risk board of factions fighting for dominance on the map and competing colors representing the different territories being taken over. So that is a little bit of more how the transitional piece from earlier season into the end season will change, and as a result, the game and map play will also evolve during the course of that as well.
And just to tie it a bit more back into lore itself, is that we did set the stage that a large human empire has been smashed, and then you were trying to ally with factions coming back in. That is the start of every season. Every season starts with the empire has been smashed. You guys are starting again from zero. You've all been pushed away from your home system, and people will then ally with various factions trying to fight their way back in. And so what that means is that there is also a PvE element to this. There is an existential threat that actually exists in the lore of this world. So you are fighting, again, against other factions because you have your own interpretation of who should be top dog. But on top of that, there is also a overall enemy that you are using to help guide the overall struggle. Hence the fact that we always talk about our rebuild, our reunite, and our reclaim kind of phases that will ultimately line up with stages of the season.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to take a question regarding tokenomics, if you guys don't mind. I think it's a very relevant question that people have about a lot of things. The question comes from Swimming Gala. How are you sure that the tokenomics won't be ruined? There's a couple components here, and there's been massive numbers of learnings since the launch of the initial launch of Town, and a lot of things have changed. Essentially, the way that the tokenomics work for almost every game that you're going to see coming out is that there is a part of the loop for the coin. The emission depends on what happens in the game in terms of what gets put in. Okay, so as the game expands and as it goes from a period of somewhat higher emissions tailing down, you've seen some of those graphs that we've posted for spider tanks. The amount of coin that gets emitted is dependent on the amount of coin that comes into the game itself. So you never have a situation where, coin just goes out like crazy because it had, well, unless it comes in like crazy, at which point in time the total supply has not majorly inflated or anything like that. So very, very, very different from any of the other play to earn models that you guys have seen that have been released. And I think that before this goes live, you can expect to see probably a fully developed paper that shows exactly how that works. That is my hope, at least. That may change. It may end up being a little bit lighter than that, but these are very, very, very robust economies that are being created.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, and on that note, yeah, all these coins, all these resources, anything you get in the game is going to be made to be consumed with some level of urgency because of the level of competition. You're going to want the edge over your neighbors or your foes that you're trying to fight with. So even if you're X% behind, that could mean the difference between winning and losing. So you're going to want to invest in your NFTs. You're going to want to turn around these coins into other durable assets that you can trade as well. But then from the coin perspective, there's always going to be a sense of urgency or some advantage for all of this stuff to be spent. So whether or not you yourself are perhaps a coin collector, there will always be someone, a willing buyer that's going to want to relieve you of some of those coins fairly quickly. And on our side, where we'll be exploring many different ways to better facilitate that, to make sure that the right people are able to access the right people with coins in their pockets.
There you go. Where's that other question I wanted to ask? Oh, I think it was Roy Plummer. Would you guys like to go into any of the other titles that you have worked on at various places you have worked in the past? People love to hear that sort of pedigree.
Yeah, so for me, I started off at Zynga, at early stage of Zynga in 2008. We worked on a lot of RPG strategy-esque versions of Mafia Wars, if you guys remember that way back when, of like Jordan Mafia types of stuff. I worked on a few titles there. Dragon Wars, Street Racing, Vampire Wars. Left that to start a studio of my own with some friends. Had a pretty long title called Castle Age, which was an amalgamation of a lot of things. You could collect heroes, you could build buildings, construct the economy, fight for territory with your guild, and have these really big, epic 100v100 battles where you could designate a time. Like you could say, oh, I want my guild to be auto rank matched at 3 p.m. every single day, that you will be auto rank matched with another guild showing up with all members ready to battle at the stroke of 3 p.m. So so I've just been in these kind of very deep, durable social type of games for a very long time. And I'm back doing this stuff.
And
Anybody else want to throw some names on
yeah,
there?
I'll chime in as well. I'm not nearly as impressive as Edwin, unfortunately, but
He's very humble.
I worked across almost every title at my previous company called Kixeye, which was big on the MMO 4X side. And those some of the big market changers in the early days of social games were games like Backyard Monsters and War Commander, Battle Pirates, and such. I didn't get to work on Backyard Monsters. Unfortunately, he was gone by the time I showed up there. But
Wait,
started
Martin,
out with those.
Did you say Backyard Monsters?
Yes, it was a Kixeye game, but at that point it had already been sunset. But we all know a lot of people played it. In fact, you know, we did one time.
I played a lot.
We took some of the for an April Fool's joke. We took some of the original Backyard Monsters and dropped them on the War Commander map, and we wanted to see how long it took for people to actually notice it. And then they were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe what happened!" And then we do it again and sub in one of the other sort of bases there as well. But that was a pretty good recurring thing that we had for April Fools. We were on the ball for that because basically what we learned from there was to let's have inside jokes with our community. Let's tap into our community. And we had players that obviously, you know, are probably going on to a decade now, given the age of some of the games. I remember Battle Pirates and War Commander Bros are both, I think, just had their 10-year anniversary last year as well. So I was there doing that the entirety of the time. That it was a great experience on that front. But then afterwards, more moving towards their mobile titles like Vega Conflict, War Commander Rogue Assault, then helping launch Siege Apocalypse and Battle Pirates Brawl as well, which are some of the spiritual successors that we had. All strategy.
Okay, guys. Sorry, I had to get back here. I was having too much fun in Discord. I'm gonna answer a question, Akaka. I don't know if I'm allowed to answer this question.
Oh, okay, that scares me.
If I answer this question and I'm not allowed to, I'm going to say what the question is. Just start yelling and screaming, and then I won't. The question was asked here by the Zorro Gala. Why the name Project Saturn?
Oh,
And
because I don't know.
but I do, you see. But I there is another name at some point in time, correct? Am I allowed to say that there is another name that exists?
I mean, in some point in future, you mean?
At some point in the future,
Of
there
course,
will be
this is
another
a code
name.
name, right? Yes.
It is a code name. And would it be too much to say that the announcement or release of that name would be an occasion for great excitement? Am I allowed to say that or not?
No, you're
I'm
not.
Okay.
You're not.
Okay.
Okay,
Never mind.
so,
Forget that I said
yeah.
that.
You
We'll
know what?
move
But
on.
I do want to say something. I know people are talking about this a lot, and I do want to, answer the elephant, talk about the elephant in the room, right? And not about the announcement, but more about the games that are going on Gala Games, right? We do have uh a lot of games, and we have a ton more that you guys don't know about that are going to be announced in the future. And yes, we will have multiple games in the same genre. And the reason for that is not to create more competition so all the developers will have hard time, making success with the games, but because we believe in these games that they make, and Gala Games platform was to be a lot bigger than, hey, we have one game of each genre in our platform, so other than these games you're never going to play anything else. It's not the vision of the company, a vision of the platform. So yes, we do have other 4X games, and we do have other ones that are based in space, but space is a very large place, and there's a lot of, there's a lot of room for people to occupy. So that I wanted to say with that, but I will answer some of the more detailed questions about the differences later on. So I'll just promise that, and taking it back to Jason.
Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate that. How far along is this game? This is a question that's been asked by a few different people. Is this like a sort of nebulous, yeah, we have an idea of something we might like to build, or is this a thing that is a thing?
So I'll start, and then Marty and Edwin could take over. But at Revolving Games, like I said, it's been since 2019 we've been investing in tools and tech to build a strategy game of this sort and this size. And so we'd say in a lot of ways we're really far ahead in production. But given certain things and the blockchain element and a lot of the NFT element, um, it, a production like this would typically take a while, but we would be, I would say, we're not going to be obviously launching this year, but it's going to be faster than most projects you see in the NFT world right now. So yeah, so we'll be showing a lot as things move forward every quarter. So we plan to give out a lot more details about what the game is, show more in terms of production values and what we're doing. We want to be as transparent as possible with the community.
Perfect. We definitely like that. As a member of the community, I do appreciate that. Quick point of clarification on the node vote. Akaka, I believe this goes to you, since I believe you put that together. Does the founders node drop include a token percentage as well?
I know NFTs
typically-
always include.
Typically it does.
Typically,
So,
yes, it does, right?
and
I know that
and I don't
everyone-
think that was deliberately not included. Correct. Just want to make that confirmation.
Oh, it was not deliberately
Excluded.
excluded.
There you go.
It will happen. I know for a fact that
There
if
you go,
have a
Deb.
founder's note, you will get a drip of you're already getting drip of town coin and stuff. So
it's going to be the
It's-
same.
it's
the
exactly
same
the
basic
same.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There you
Mhm.
go. Deb and all of those who are like, oh my God, but it doesn't say tokens. They're not going to give us tokens. Blah. All of that. Yeah. You will get your normal bit of tokens. So maybe whoever is listening and has edit ability, if you want to go and add in that little tiny bit of text so that nobody freaks out, that would be great. Okay, so
I got. Oh,
Go ahead.
Amar, I have a question. So
Hit it.
I remember either Amar or Saad saying that Revolving Games is close to 100 people in terms of studio size. How many people are actually working on this game?
So we have over 60 people working on the game right now, full time.
All right.
Nice.
And the number
That
is
is-
increasing. It's an incredible project. We're super deeply passionate about it, and we want to ship out games that we're obsessed with and building, and love working with the community. We like critical feedback, guys. So just don't be rude. We get our feelings hurt.
Guys, they like critical feedback.
But
They
but
really
that
do.
does not mean we're gonna do everything, but we would love for we've been players. We're first players, then developers, and we understand the emotions.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting when especially when you get into the way that we tend to do things here. We're always looking for feedback from the community. We're always here in Discord talking to people, answering questions, putting up with sometimes occasionally rude people, but we do all understand the passion. We all have the same passion. That's why we're here. That's why we do this. I don't think that anything that we do, I don't think that working, I certainly know that not in my case, working for Gala isn't just a job. It's something that we're all extremely passionate about, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you one game we made in 2013. It's not part of Revolving Games right now, but it's still live with 300 active community members because we never had the heart to kill it because those guys love the game so much, and it pays for the servers. But it's amazing how it's incredible. 300 people put in time every day. And yeah, so we love the community, and this is really one of the major reasons we're part of this ecosystem. And Web3 is the community is such a big, wonderful family, and families fight, so we understand when they're angry, so that's perfectly fine.
Families definitely do fight. Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so oh wait, I saw a question. Nope, not a question. I'm digging through for questions that we can. I think that for Lucifer, I believe that is going to be updated on the Medium blog. Chris, if you're listening, or whoever has access to that, make it so. Okay, Tofu. Well, no, maybe I can't dig into that. Basically, we're giving as much information as we can right now. The node vote needs to happen first. This is a similar situation to some node votes that we had. Can I say this, Aaron? Am I allowed to say this?
You mean last year?
Yeah. Can I say that?
You can say that, yes.
Okay, so it is a similar situation to the way that we did some node votes before a certain event last year, but we're trying to give you more information this time, hence the AMA and the name of Project Saturn and all of these things. We recognize that people did not like that. They were not comfortable with the fact that we're like, hey, let's do these things. Please give us a thumbs up for 3 things all together at once. I know that people didn't really like that so much. So this is why we're trying to do this before another event that may be coming up. Who knows? Yeah,
Okay.
that's
All right.
that's that question.
So
Go ahead.
I have a question. And guys, I am in active discussions with Revolving Games in terms of creating tokenomics and what stuff we sell as an NFT and all, and how we design the game and all that. But sometimes I don't know everything, so I would like to ask a question on behalf of Aerovista, I think, and all the others who's been asking about what will be the NFTs look like in the game. And addition to some of the other people's question, how is it different from the other game that supposedly on Gala Games that is in space? And will there be planets that will sell as NFTs?
Yeah.
So
Honestly, we definitely have a unique take on a number of NFTs, and by nature of the seasonal aspect, that there will be some resetting of gameplay at the end of every single season. There may be a resetting of the entire map, that players can get to start in a different location with their faction, that they get to land grab for that, and have all the different factions compete for where their starting experience is going to be for the next season. And for that, we have some NFTs designed in our own way that are specifically designed for this. Martin may be able to take it away, describing some
Well,
of
absolutely. Yeah,
awesome.
it's a very big question in terms of everything that Aaron laid out, and also circling back on a recurring theme that I know that the community definitely wants to understand, which is like, okay, how is this different from other Forex strategy games, especially the ones that are currently in the Gala ecosystem? We've already kind of covered off on seasons. The big ones are seasons, how factions will be operating, and then also the concept of faction organization. Seasons, we're talking about, hey, we have this recurring narrative that happens, and people are going to go through and fight against antagonists and each other and everything else that's happening. That is fairly ambitious up front, but we like seasonal mechanics for that. There is that repeatable mastery. There is that risk board that people are able to have another kick at the can. You're not joining a new Forex game that is like operating as a live service, and you're like, well, everyone else has been doing this for 3 years. There's no chance in hell I'm ever going to actually get there. Everything's already all spoken for. So we do want an opportunity for new players, new entrants to come in and be able to experience that. Our factions, big time. We're going to have a higher number of factions than you normally see in games in general, and they're all going to have the same sort of thing, as in like specific access to specialized troops, some things that they're able to purchase, specialized resource access based off of the maps themselves. So that kind of individual flavor is still going to be captured. We wanted to make sure that with the seasonal aspect, that there's not only that variety, but that affinity towards that play style that people like. So where I'm going with this is that a lot of the components that, in terms of how we've been thinking about this, and starting with seasons, moving to factions, really sets a stage of competitive frameworks. This is like sports, and this strategy game is supposed to be a lot like sports, as in you try it one season, you're there leveraging things on a social front, and then you are horse trading and perhaps joining different factions for the subsequent season. So a lot of leaderboards, a lot of factional status, a lot of driving for objectives, and it's not ordinal. It's not like, if we miss out early in the season, crap, we're going to fall behind, because we're going to have secondary and different kind of runoff abilities for people to kind of come back and still place fairly well with their faction general. So there is an NFT side that also kind of factions, which is that we saw a lot of higher level social play that would evolve at, let's say, the guild level in a lot of games. A lot of live ops games have certain kind of guild mothers and guild leaders that are using all kinds of communication strategies. They're trying to poach players from other factions or other kind of social organizations. And we did actually think about, like, is there a way we can codify this a bit more, again, using a sort of sports team analogy, in a way that certainly works with NFTs, but something that also is a formalized version of all the de facto kind of voting systems and other types of things where there's the social bartering that happens in games. So long story short, we are going to have a sort of, not necessarily ruling class, but a governing class on top of factions themselves. And we've called them affectionately elders, consuls, and magistrates. And so an elder would be a de facto factional leader. And again, all of these memberships align with NFT ownership. But a elder would be someone that helps define relationships within their faction itself, and is certainly big on trying to recruit people to join their faction, and is basically, in essence, like a sports team owner. All the roles actually are. You'd have, again, cascading downwards, all those roles that are involved, different kind of administration roles, are allowed to gift power-ups, help pick factional relationships, be able to gift certain things to different guilds, different players. So it's one of these things that if a guild's lagging behind, here's some opportunities for you to be able to, shore up one, or if there's one right at the bleeding edge, hey, here's a power up right at that great opportune moment. So we wanted that ability to, not necessarily king-making. I put this analogy more in the situation of like a golfer, as in the entirety of the faction itself, will win the golf tournament, but the caddy was there just to give the one little tip at the right time, or kind of like a jockey on a horse. The horse wins the race, but the jockey was there just to give that little bit of motivation or a little bit of direction to kind of help that out. So we saw that as a great opportunity to tie these things together in a way that really hasn't existed in a more formalized way in the game.
There you go. I have a question that I'd like to dig into really quick. Where did it go? Crap. I go away for just 1 second. And okay, there you go. Johnny Boy. Why NFT sales? Sounds like they don't need a Kickstarter. And this goes for all of the games that you see on our platform. We do NFT sales for you. Because we want to have users who feel that they are part of the game process at the very, very beginning, and are able to see it as it grows. It's not about raising money to build a game. The game is going to be built one way or the other. It's about giving you guys the opportunity to jump in first, to jump in at the very beginning, and to be some of the first, gigantic boom somewhere in my house. Anyway, to be some of the first ones to get involved. And as you guys have seen with other games, NFTs are used to gate access to the games for the later phases of testing. Usually there's a first test where just anyone can jump in, but after that, NFTs are there. And so this is a way to do that. And having NFTs of different tiers and rarity and things like that to allow people different levels of desired involvement in the process. Would you guys say that that's a fair answer?
Yeah, I like to add, like, NFTs also
Sure.
give us a chance to interact with the community. That
Right.
is the bridge. And on the other hand, they're right. Like, we've already invested 12 million in the studio. So this isn't like, for us, it was not about raising money through NFT sales. It's far bigger and grander than that. What the goals of Revolving Games and Gala are through this game. So yeah.
Um, and I also want to deal with another question. I believe it's more of a statement. Um, from Demander, basically saying games want the Gala name attached so they can move forward to put money in the pockets. These games are funded already, guys. Like, again, that's not a question. You voting yay or nay on a game with a node vote, the only thing that changes, let's say hypothetically everyone says no. Okay. I hope that doesn't happen. But if everyone says no, the game still gets built. It just none of it runs on the node network, and you guys don't get any drops. Okay, that's how that works. All of this stuff is already funded. It's not being funded out of I mean, that's out of our pockets, all of us together, not specifically out of nodes. So that's what that vote is for, is do you want to be a part of this or do you not want to be a part of it? And your vote does not determine whether or not the game gets funded. The game's already funded. That's done. Okay, so hopefully that answers that question. And is there going to be, this is something that people are asking a lot, is there going to be a single player experience with this, or do you have to be part of something larger?
That is kind of up to the optionality of the player. Like we mentioned earlier, the way that the season started out, it's that you're scattered all across space of different players, and you have your own little private sector where you will most definitely start out playing by yourself. But at some point in time, there will be a call to regroup. You can still play kind of like in your own lone wolf way. You could be this strong, badass guy that charges in the army and just like fights and takes out the opposing strongest guy in the other army, and then bounce afterwards. Be like, all right, peace out, and not talk to anybody. But while you're being that lone wolf guy, other people are still going to benefit from you playing the game. You still took out the other giant monster on the other side. You're going to have possibly a cheerleading like cheerleader following, whether you like it or not. You may be able to turn it off. We may allow that if that becomes high in demand. But you're going to just by playing, you're going to benefit other people, and they're going to notice, and they may thank you for it. And I think that level of kind of social interaction, no matter how you play, I think is a nice thing, but also facilitates more naturally the building of relationships where you don't have to just extend your hand and do some sort of back and forth handshake. You can just kind of play together because you're there together and just fight on the same side.
And who knows, there might be a faction of other lone wolves that all just start identifying as such, and indirectly start working together and benefiting each other. So there's always the options out there, depending on how they want to play those roles out.
It's all energy that goes into the ecosystem. I think that's one of the great things about games like this, is that the more people play, the better the experience is for everybody. And I think that's how you've got a fantastic game.
Yeah, absolutely. On the faction side, teams can win championships when you have even guys that don't necessarily want to play nice with everybody else. You can have kind of like a Kobe Bryant-esque guy that is really good, scoring champion type of guy that hogs the ball and does a really good job. And then you can have guys that are more like LeBron James as pass first. And there's going to be flavors of that for opportunities for different play styles for everybody.
Question from Ill-Minded here, or Ill-Minded is asked, and a few other people have asked, is there plans in the long term for a mobile component? Or is this straight up PC?
Yes,
PC first.
that's the short answer.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Starting kind of PC first, but having a companion app will be nice. Just giving people access to kind of keep up to date with the goings on and just get their clicks in and all that kind of stuff. Is just whatever that ends up being, like the things that the player community wants first or needs first, we'll probably reprioritize and definitely lean into that.
So from an engineering
about-
perspective, we're building it on Unity, which allows us to be cross-platform. So it's not going to be challenging for us. It's a matter of priorities, working with the community, with you guys at Gala, as well as what is allowed and not allowed on the Apple and Android ecosystems.
Right, there you go. Are you guys in Discord by any chance?
Yes.
You are. We're gonna have to get you guys a role and in there. People are asking. A couple people I've seen. Oh goodness. HB wants Linux first. Do you think you can accommodate that? 100% Linux build first. Doc would be very happy. He would be very happy if he's listening to this. Not many people I know, and kudos to you, HB. Not many people I know are use Linux as their daily driver. Okay. Are there any other questions that we need to deal with, guys? Anything that anything else that we want to talk about? Akaka, anything on your list?
Anything on my list? Yeah, I'm going through the YouTube questions just to
Oh, good.
find
Okay,
something that's more interesting.
YouTube people, hit him.
Yeah, while he's finding it, I want to highlight one thing. Like one of the key things about Revolving Games is our team and our leadership, and it's incredibly strong. I'd say safely most of the guys working on this project have worked on games that have generated over $3 billion in the free-to-play space, but they really are super passionate about what they're doing at RG. And yeah, you can find information on LinkedIn. You can go stalk on the 60 people that are working on the game if you need more transparency.
Ooh, LinkedIn. Oh goodness, you have invited it now.
Yeah.
What is the estimated length for each season? Spooky would like to know.
Yeah, possibly right now. It really depends on how fast the teams complete their goals. Roughly, we're thinking about three months time or so. But then because people will get better, like Martin said, there's going to be some replayable mastery. People are going to figure out how to collaborate and conquer territory faster, get to center faster, and all that kind of stuff. So if people finish the map will reset. So with that, like every single season, we'll be kind of paying attention to the players and also making changes, making updates, making some things easier, making some things harder. So even if during the time period of like 3 seasons, one team looks like they're going to win it all, they're going to win the championship or the Super Bowl or whatever that's going to be, there can be other areas that we'll continue to build into, even off season, that people can continue to chase and enjoy and all that kind of stuff. So there's going to be gameplay tied to the season and also gameplay that is more lone wolf and at their own pace as well.
Nice. And this is one of those really critical things about games, guys. And I know that all of you on this call know this, but this is the thing that people not in this space sometimes don't know, is that what makes games great over the long period of time is this continual tuning, this growth, this little tweaking here and there to make things a little bit better, a little bit more challenging, a little bit more interesting, a little bit more different. That's absolutely massively critical to the long-term viability of a game. Otherwise, you just figure it out, and if the meta never changes, then you solve a puzzle once and you're done.
Yeah, and on our side, like for me, some of my experience making games has been leaning a lot on the community, getting ideas and such. And sometimes we can grab some guys, get in the room, and try to workshop something out and see if it's even possible, and then take a shot. It might blow up in our face, but eventually, if we take enough good shots, like some really cool things can come from that. And as a player, having potential access to just kind of talk to us about some of these ideas and seeing some of your ideas get realized, like I think that's what's really exciting about our opportunity here, where we get access to you guys and be able to kind of get your feedback and your ideas, and maybe some idea that you come up with will be the thing that really makes our game. So just really looking forward and excited.
Nice.
And what I love about Gala is the energy you guys have. It's the same energy we have within our studio, and that I've known Akaka for what, 10 years or something now, and
Something like that.
called me the first time, and he's like, "This is what we're doing," and that energy was incredible, and we're like, finally, we have a partnership where every time it's crazy work. He's
I love
working
it.
24/7. Does he even sleep?
No, none of us sleep over
Yeah,
here. None of us sleep.
it's incredible.
I spent the last time I slept was over the last week. I had COVID and I just quit and I just laid on my couch for an entire week and built up all of the sleep that I need for about the next year. I think I'm good.
No, but this is definitely the first partnership where I've seen where I'm texting Akaka at 3 a.m. and he's responding. I'm like, whoa.
Hey,
It-
come on, I know a lot of people on the company's watching. You don't have to go that far.
dude, you and I have had long conversations at 3 a.m, Aaron. This is
but it's the truth. I want to bring that up. It's awesome.
well,
Yeah.
awesome, guys. This has been an absolute blast. I think that is about. Was there anything else in YouTube that you wanted to?
I
deal
want to
with
add
there?
one thing since you brought up the trees.
Hit it.
So Revolving Games is going to commit planting 1 tree per NFT sold as well.
There you
So,
go. That means for each
There
of
you
these,
go.
that's 2
Yeah.
trees.
Yeah,
2
don't
trees.
find me on this, Aaron, but I want to say this. Let's fucking go. Let's build this.
Let's
All
do
right.
it. Let's
Yeah.
do it, guys.
Dude.
Speaking of trees, is there going to be a tech tree? This is a question that Dorbs asked, and I'm curious because I like tech trees and regular trees.
Oh yes,
Can-
at least 2. At least,
At
2,
least
I'd say.
2. There we go. Lots.
At
Awesome,
least,
guys.
right.
Is there anything else that you want to cover, Akaka? Anything in YouTube popping up?
You know what? There was some conversation going about 28 games all coming this year, and that
No,
is
no one said
no,
anything about
no,
28
no.
games this year. That's
Uh,
definitely not
we
going to
have
be
we have a lot of games, and we have
Yeah.
games planned out for next up to
Several
next 4
years.
years.
Yeah.
So no, we're not going to be dumping all the games at once, which even if I wanted
that would
to,
be
I would.
crazy. But this is, I mean,
Impossible.
you bring up a really good point, and this goes back to some of what was being discussed earlier. Is funding of these things. There is no way that you could have a 4-year development roadmap and then have a major game that is going to drop in like 3 years that is completely unannounced that nobody knows anything about, and be like, yeah, guys, don't worry, we'll totally fund you when the node vote passes in 3 years and 3 months. Like that shit just doesn't scan, guys. So those are 28 games that are funded, that are paid for, that are coming one way or the other. So please keep that in mind. Because we're talking pretty massive teams here. I mean, you guys have 90 on your team, right? Like I believe they all enjoy eating and sleeping in houses and stuff like that, right? It's pretty important. And the
Most
same
of
is
them.
true with, yeah, most of them do. I mean, developers, engineers, you have the occasional engineer, that prefers cardboard boxes and camping, but it's sleeping in the rough. It's being close to nature and all the trees. But anyway, go ahead.
Anyway,
Akaka.
one last thing that I wanted to say is that we're getting very close to Galaverse. We are preparing a lot of exciting things for Galaverse. So yeah, we will keep updating a lot of stuff, and just follow us and get Discord, and watch out for the announcement for what happens to Project Saturn.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, guys. And thank you to all of the community for being amazing and contributing to this conversation. I very much look forward to sharing more information about this project as we go forward. And I'm going to ask that the stream end now before I accidentally blurt out more stuff that I'm not supposed to say.